to remind myself that I hold the power, right? Even if times change, even if the seasons change, there's people who still need to hear from you. If it's one person, if it's two people, if it's 50,000 people, they're looking for you. And now is not the time to shut down.
She's the voice reminding us that trust isn't a soft skill. It's the foundation of every successful culture. All right, Minda, welcome to ShineAF. I am so glad you're here. We were kind of talking before. We met many moons ago when I was at another place and all that good stuff. So it's so good to see you again. And I just really appreciate you being part of the ShineAF family.
No, it was so good to hear from you and happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Well, first of all, I need to congratulate you to Talk to Me Nice, hitting the USA Today Bestsellers List. So congratulations for
Thank
that.
you.
So with that, before we kind of jump into my questions, I want to sit and talk about before questioning whether your voice would be heard to watching people actually listen, share, and lead differently because of your work. You're kind of like in this full circle season. Just tell me a little bit, how does this moment feel right now for you?
Ooh, that's a great question, Nicole, because I remember sitting in my office in my former life and wondering this little, people call it that little blog I was doing way back in the
Yeah,
day, would that grow past my family, right? And is there something that people want to hear that they might be experiencing that I felt like I was the only one, right? And it's funny when you sow those seeds, you don't realize that sometimes you're writing for you, for your healing,
right.
but you're realizing that your healing is also helping set others free, right? And I'm constantly reminded, even though the Memo, my first book, has been out for many years, people are coming to me today like, man, I just found this book. Thank you. And you realize that, again, it wasn't just, I had to go through that so that we all could find what freedom looks like to us. And so it's very humbling, even today.
Well, let me tell you, I wanted to surprise you and show you my copy of the memo. And then I called my sister and she's like, oh, I gave that to so and so. So my sister had it. So it's actually going through my family right now.
I love
Because I
it.
was like tearing my house up. I'm like, where is my copy? And I called my sister. I said, have you seen my book? Because I remember the last time she was visiting, she's
Hmm.
like, can I read this? And I never get stuff back. And she's like, oh, yeah, I've been read that book. I gave it to so and so. So just so you know, other family members are reading.
It's circulating, right?
Yes, it's circulating. It's circulating. But when you talked about that with the healing and everything, honestly, Minda, I felt like when I read the memo, I was like, has she been in my journals? I mean, everything there, it was just like, yep, yep, yep. I mean, it just validated everything that I was feeling. And I'm sure, like you said, you get that all the time.
Yeah, because you don't realize, because I think there was a time, Nicole, and you remember that we didn't
Yeah.
talk about these things out loud, right?
No,
You're just like,
not at
you
all.
go through it and you're like, okay, well, this must just be how it is till I get
Yeah.
to retirement. And so something clicked and it's like, you know what? It shouldn't be this way. We shouldn't
Yeah.
normalize this. And if I'm experiencing this, then somebody else. And I thought I was crazy, right? And so allowing someone else to read the word and say, wait, it shouldn't be this way. We shouldn't
Yeah.
normalize this. And if I'm experiencing this, then somebody else. And I thought I was crazy, right? And so allowing someone else to read the word and say, wait, I'm not crazy. I didn't make this up. This isn't
Yeah.
okay. I mean, it's so validating, right? Even if you are still experiencing it, just for someone to see you. And that's why our voice is so important, because people need to know that they're seen.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like you broke the dam with that because I'm telling you, I'm serious. I read your book, and for so long, I thought it was just me. That's why, I kind of call us kind of like the OGs of the
Yeah.
corporate space, if you will, because we just put our heads down, we dealt with it, and you never really looked up to see, was there anybody else? And then with reading that book, everybody was like, oh my God, that's me, that's me. And I just remember crying to one of my girlfriends. I was like, I swear for years, I thought I was the only one in corporate America because a lot of times if I wasn't the only woman in the room, I was the only black woman in the room.
Right.
Sometimes the only black person.
Hmm.
So a lot of the things that people deal with now that they talk about now on LinkedIn, I'm like, oh yeah, I've been there, done that. You know?
It's like,
So,
I'm glad that you brought that up. It's like night and day, right? Because I remember when LinkedIn, we never talked about those things, right? And
no.
now there's not a week that goes by where someone isn't tagging me in something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why I tell, like friends of mine who are younger than me or even like nieces or cousins, I'm like, you guys are at a good time
Hmm.
because we always thought if we spoke up, we'd either get fired, reprimanded, our managers would be in our face. The fact that you guys now, even though you're going through it still, at least you now have the freedom to
Hmm.
discuss. and to be
Right.
like, look, I'm not the only one. What should I do? And I think
Absolutely.
that is a blessing. So, I
Yeah,
mean, I
well,
hate
that's
that
how
they're
you
still
can
going through
shine,
it.
right? That's how you can shine to be able to say, yes, this is an issue, right? We have to
Yes.
shine a light on those dark places because we can't get to the better part of our true sunshine if we don't do that. And I'm glad, like you said, this generation, at least they can say it out loud, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I also feel, and I don't know if you feel like you've seen this, especially like when you're going around and speaking, I feel like at least they have more options too.
Yeah.
I feel like at one time, when you talk about like with the memo, how to get a seat at the table, it was either one of us or none of us, or it was just kind of like that one who was there didn't help the other ones. I
Yeah.
do feel like there's a change in that regard. It's a little bit more, at least there's more of us in the room, if you will.
That is true. Even now, when I go to companies, and I remember when I first started the speaking circuit, and I'd be the only one in the
Yeah.
room, right, talking about these things. And then now it's like, oh, okay, now you see more familiar faces than you
Yeah.
did before.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so I have found out that we do have a couple things in common. I too am a big sneakerhead. I gave up high heels, I don't even know how many years ago. I just was like, you know what? They're not comfortable. I don't want them. And I got into sneakers. What's your kind of go-to sneaker, or do you like one particular brand? I'm in my Adidas phase right now, so
Okay,
I'm really liking
okay.
all the different colors and stuff.
Yes, I love that. Jordans are always my go-to. That is a
Okay,
go-to. But what I will say is the Nike Cortez has been kind of like it because now
nice.
they're like coming out in a lot of different colors. Before it was
Yes.
like one standard or two standard, and now I'm like, oh, okay, I can coordinate. And it gives me I'm petite and kind of short by most people's standards, so it gives me a little height, Nicole. It gives
Yeah.
me a little cushion. So
Yeah, well, that's how I feel about those Adidas, kind of the
yeah,
platform. When
yeah,
I put them on, I'm like, oh, okay, because I'm a good 5'4".
yeah,
My mom would say 5'3". I'm like, I'm 5'4".
yeah,
Calm
yeah,
down. But I feel like those give me, that little extra. And don't you
yeah.
love how more and more just young girls are getting into sneakers? I feel like at one time it was a boys' game, you know?
I love that because, people be like, well, wear your heels and even to like, and I'm like, no, these are just as nice, right? And then once I
Right.
started getting, now you're seeing more corporate looks with sneakers,
Yes.
right? And so it's normalized, which I
Yes.
love that for us.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
trust me, I'm matching my sneakers with my blazers. I'm not
yeah,
even pretending. If I go to an event, I'm like, I look nice. My shoes are everything's color coordinated. So
exactly. And comfort is the
that's the
key.
key. Yes, yeah. All right. So then I also found we both love Mexican food, and let me tell you, if I could eat it every day and not gain weight, I'd probably eat it 2 or 3 times a day. But what's your go-to? Mine, I'm all about the cheese enchiladas. That's my thing.
I love a good enchilada too. I will say though, I love a tamale. So we're in
Oh,
like, that
yes,
season right now where there's a lot of tamales. So I
yes.
also have to talk to my belly and say we can't have that. But and my mom, like her go-to meal is tacos. So whenever I am at her, she's
That's
like
me.
tacos. If she could make tacos every night, I think she would.
Yes. Yes. And my
Yeah.
mom is old school because where she was raised, it's all about the Mexican food. So she actually fries the shells and
Oh,
everything.
that's how my
Yeah.
mom is. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So that's kind of a staple. If she comes
Yeah.
visit me, she makes us tacos. If I go visit her, we have tacos. So
We're gonna have to do a taco fest because all
yeah.
of my mom and your mom would get along because that is
Oh
going to
yeah.
happen. Now, there's two things that are gonna happen. We're gonna catch up on some TV, and she's gonna make tacos.
Yeah, that's it. Oh my God. Yes, we have to get together because my mom introduced me to the ID channel and all them shows. So
Yeah,
if it's not Snapped or For My Man or whatever.
I love it.
All right. So then Sour Patch Kids. Me too. Do you have a particular flavor or is it just the Sour Patch Kids as a whole?
I pretty much all of them except for orange. But if I'm desperate, I'll eat the orange.
See, we couldn't be roommates between the Mexican food and the candy. They'd be like, you guys have gained like 50 pounds each.
But we're smiling and having a good time.
That's it. That's it. All right. So again, thank you for being part of Shine AF. I have these signature questions that I always ask all my guests because I always love to hear the different responses. So the first one is when you hear the phrase Shine AF, what does that mean to you personally?
It means to me personally that if I don't shine, then I don't allow people to get to see and feel and experience the real me. And
Mm,
that's a cost to myself and to others because they don't get to experience Minda Harts in true
I
fashion.
love that. What's one moment in your life or career where you had to remind yourself to shine even when everything felt messy?
I would say probably in 2025, a lot of changed a bit inside of corporations. A lot of the conversations that we were having around race and gender started to shift, right?
Hmm.
And I think for me, I started to question if my voice mattered anymore, right? Am I going
Mm,
back to kind of being siloed or silenced? And so for a while, I just kind of didn't know if I still had the shine, right? If I had the
hmm.
sauce anymore. And I had to remind myself that I hold the power, right? Even if
Mm,
times change, even if the seasons change, there's people who still need to hear from you. If it's one person, if it's two people, if it's 50,000 people, they're looking for you. And now is not the time to shut down, right? Now is not the
yeah,
time. And reminding myself that it's not just for me. And also reminding myself of all the amazing women that came before me and how I'm a direct beneficiary of their courage and their voice. And so if they shut down and didn't do it, then where would I be today? The Audre Lordes, right? If they would have said, you know what,
right.
I don't want to do this anymore. I can't. I'm sure they had moments, right? But they realized that it was bigger than them. Toni Morrison, all of those great women that came before us. And so I said, who's going to benefit or who's not going to benefit if I don't shine, right? And so I think
Hmm.
this year I had to have one of those come to Jesus talks with myself to say, hey, we're still in it to win it. Rather, the policies change.
Hmm.
We're still important. Our voices, our careers, our dreams, and so sometimes we just have to shake ourselves and talk to ourselves nice, right?
Yeah, I thank you, Minda, for opening up and saying that because I always feel like people think confidence is perfection,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not. I mean, you were confident, but it was also kind of like you said, self-reflection as far as like, do I want to keep doing this?
Yeah,
But you knew, okay, yep, I do want to keep doing it. Everybody always thinks like if you're a confident woman or if you're out there, oh, she has it all together, and it's like,
yeah.
no, I
Mm-hmm.
don't, I don't.
Yep.
So,
And we have to
so
be vulnerable about that. I
yes.
think part of shining is putting the wall down and saying, yeah, I am experiencing that too. I do
Hmm.
have the same questions and concerns that you have. I have too, right? They might look a little different, but we're still wondering, you know, what's tomorrow going to bring, right? That's
Right.
still something that's humanizing ourselves too.
Yeah, yeah. So confidence isn't always loud. What does it look like for you when it's quiet?
Nicole, a lot of people who have read my work or meet me, they sometimes are surprised that I'm an introvert, right? Because I'm very
Hmm.
bold in my writing and in my talking when I'm on stage. But what I will say, it's a quiet confidence, right? It's one of
Hmm.
those things where I don't have to beat my chest in the room. I don't have to do do the thing, right? And I think that
Yeah.
has served me well. And so I think confidence is not always what everyone else can see, right? It's that
Hmm.
internal factor, right? Do I believe I belong in this room? Do I believe that my words are important, right? Because I think we've all been in a situation where somebody has tried to break our confidence, right?
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think it's really important for us to remember and boost ourselves up and encourage ourselves to say, okay, what does confidence look like for me? And I get to define it. Confidence isn't always
Hmm.
being the loudest in the room, right? Or
Yeah.
performing like I love Beyonce, performing like Beyonce, right? It might look different. Confidence might look different for
Yeah.
you, right? It might be a Substack, right? It might be a podcast. And I think
Hmm.
we all have to find our confidence and what that looks like for us.
Yeah. I mean, everybody can't be Sasha Fierce, but we have our own version of it,
We
right?
have our own version.
So,
Absolutely.
who or what helps you get your shine back when life tries to dim it?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's funny because, of course, family and trusted friends,
Hmm.
and even some days I'll have back and forth with Chat GPT, like, hype me up, what's going like, here's where things are. What do you think about this? Analyze it. And I just think we have to find our safe places, right? Our
Yeah.
safe places to land and go back to those those reserves so that we can remind ourselves on those days where we nobody's picking up the phone to remind us that
Mm-hmm.
we remember those words and really hold on to them. And I also do a lot of reading because um, again, nothing new is under the sun, right? So the things that we're
Right.
experiencing and just finding comfort and inspiration from others who walk similar paths as well.
Yeah. If someone watching this is struggling to believe in their own light, what would you tell them right now?
I would say that you belong in every room, but sometimes you walk similar paths as well.
Yeah. If someone watching this is struggling to believe in their own light, what would you tell them right now?
I would say that you belong in every room, but sometimes you, this question is so important, Nicole. You belong in every room, but not every room deserves to have you.
Mm,
And I think sometimes people need to be reminded of that, right? We're always trying to get the seat at the table. We're always trying to make
hmm.
the new friend or get people to like us and those sorts of things. And remember that you're the value add, right? When you step into the room gets brighter, it gets
Right.
better, right? And so we have to have that air we about ourselves. And it's not a cockiness or anything of the sort, but it's just reminding ourselves that we're here for a reason, right? We're
Hmm.
here for a purpose even if nobody else realizes what that purpose is in this moment,
Right.
we're here because of that. And I think it's so important to remind ourselves of that, even when we don't feel like it. And sometimes shining isn't a feeling, right?
Hmm.
It's an action. It's a noun and a verb.
I love that you said that because sometimes I always think about Serena Williams, because I love sports and a lot of them
Mm-hmm.
is team sports, but here she
Yeah.
is tennis and she was by herself. And I
Right.
feel like sometimes, again, not comparing myself to Serena, but with a lot that I do, I'm by myself. So I don't
Right.
have that like, immediate, I'm not in an office. I don't have that immediate
Mm-hmm.
hype squad where I can just, go to somebody's desk and be like, I'm feeling some kind of way. So,
Right.
so what you were
Mm-hmm.
saying, sometimes you gotta have to be like, look, girl, you got it. Just, maybe today you don't have it, but tomorrow when you wake up, you'll be fine. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And it's training ourselves, right?
Hmm.
It's the training that Serena was doing, right? Every
Hmm.
day. Okay, maybe I did win Wimbledon, but we get back out there and we do the
Right.
darn thing. We
Yeah.
keep shining. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's have a little fun with it, Minda. If your confidence had a theme song, what would it be and why?
Oof. I would say you probably won't be surprised to hear this, but I'm gonna say Beyonce and I'm gonna say freedom because a
Okay.
winner don't quit on themselves.
Yes.
We
Yes.
got to keep going, and that's part of shining, right? We don't quit on
Yeah.
ourselves, even when we
Yeah.
feel.
Who would play you in the movie version of your life?
That's a good question. I would say I feel like I'm moving in Nicole into that like auntie phase. So I'm like, who are the young kids that could play
Right.
me?
Right. But we're still cute and sexy aunties.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
come on. Let's
exactly.
not get it twisted.
We're the youngest sister auntie. You got
Right.
your favorite aunt. Okay, so
Right.
I would say that I really love Zendaya. I think she has like a quiet confidence about
Yes.
herself too, and at times when she needs to, she'll flick it up a little more just to remind you that
Oh
she's
yeah.
always been that girl, right? And so I would love
Yeah.
to see someone like Zendaya play me. Yep,
I love that.
yep.
What's one trend or moment right now that makes you either roll your eyes or shout yes?
um, you know what? I think what it's like the chicken or the egg in this case, but for me the trend that I like is people calling out mean girls, right? Because I
Yes.
think there's been a lot of commentary around women who have been very successful, but they've not everybody's had a good experience with them,
Hmm.
right? And so
Yeah.
I think that's important to kind of talk about because mean girls, that does not help anybody. It dims people's lights. But what I
Yeah.
don't like is dragging people from here to the pits of Hades, right? I feel like
Right.
there's a way that we could have hard
Yeah.
conversations and not like make people go into witness protection when you are dragged.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
I do like that we're calling out bad behavior. I do
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah. And and I like that too, because I remember in corporate America, I think it was all this whole thing of women stick together. And I
Hmm.
like now even on LinkedIn, people are saying, hey, some of my worst managers were women.
Right,
And
right.
I know the first time I said it out loud, people looked at me like, I'm shocked. And I'm like, I don't know why you're shocked. Just because we're women doesn't mean we're automatically gonna get along or like each other.
Yeah,
We don't say that to men, like, oh, it's
no,
a bunch of guys in the office, they should be friends. No. So
yeah,
why put that on us? So I'm with you on that. I do
yeah.
like that. All right, coffee, cocktails, or mocktails. What's your go-to that fuels you?
Mm. Well, I'm not a coffee drinker, so it's either going to be probably a cocktail, but
Okay.
my waistline says a mocktail.
Well, what's your go-to cocktail?
I love Prosecco. Well,
Mm,
it's Prosecco with like a little Saint Germain, so that's my cocktail. Even though
okay.
that's my little bit of hit.
Right, right. Okay. All right. Finish this sentence. Right now, I'm shining AF because
Because nobody is gonna shine like me.
I love that.
Mm,
I love that.
period.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a mic drop right there.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much, Minda. I just appreciate you. I feel like, it's so funny. I was telling my husband, I was like, I'm so excited. I got Minda, and I was telling other people because you may not think of it, but I see you as like larger than life.
Mm,
So, and especially from just like I said, us meeting years ago, and I'm so proud of you as far as like with the memo and then where you go in your book now. So, it's one of those things like I'm gonna reach out and ask. And between you and Lou, your chief of staff, who I love, it's always like, yeah, what do you need? So thank you for always just being just so nice, just being a nice person. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
that just means everything.
Well, equally, one of the things that is important to me about shining is also shining lights on other people as well, and especially remembering the people who were there for you in your early days, right? And saying yes
Yeah.
when you're able. And so thank you again for always seeing me and shining a light on me. So it was my pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you, Minda. That was Minda Harts, the trust builder, the truth teller, and the voice reminding us that when you stay rooted in purpose and communicate with intention, your impact speaks for itself. Don't forget, subscribe, stay connected, and I'll see you at the Nicole Gray